Hello, everybody. I'm Saberwolf, and I am joined by Double Down here. How you doing, bud?
Doing wonderful, Saberwolf. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. So we got a little bit of a testing grounds, as I guess you could call it. We're trying out some new flag sets for our standard seeds, because the standard that we have currently on the website, which is, by the way, ff6wc.com, those are kind of back from before version 1, per se. Uh, so we just kind of rolled over to be kind of the same that we had before. So this is kind of a new flag set for the future ladder racing that we'll have in not too distant future. It'll be an ongoing weekly race for a league. It'll be going on for about 2 or 3 months worth, just for like elo standards like that to see where people are. So are you gonna try? Are you gonna try running that?
Yeah, it's a interesting flag set. Pretty familiar for anybody who's been doing the standard race flags already. A few kind of minor tweaks here and there. So sort of an evolution of that flag set. We've got a few more rages we used to have before. A few more lores, things like that. Character stats may have a little bit more variance. We're guaranteed that one of those starting characters will not be Go-Go, or Umaro, so we won't have the classic Go-Go and Umaro start. Narrower range for curse shields, no breakable rods, so a couple little tweaks here and there, but I think the look and feel is still very similar to what we are used to in these standard races.
Yeah, I mean, one would keep like the essence of being standard because we don't want, because this is kind of like what everybody tests to see how good they are, against like the public in general. Because a lot of people, like me myself included, try to get like sub. Like I want to try for a sub 145 run. Well, this is the standard skill set or flag set that everybody kind of measures themselves to. How good am I a player at this game? So
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The best time I've had on a standard race seed was definitely because of Magitech and Shock. And guess what is not in the standard race seed in this test environment? There's no Magitech, there's no Shock. So I'm in big trouble, but I don't think the racers we have on today are going to be in nearly as bad shape as that.
all right, we had a little technical difficulty with one of our runners here. So as soon as our racers are ready up, we'll give the 1 minute counter again. I like to be fair. How we do this so that everybody's on the same page with the whole running and everything is that whoever's the restreamer, which I'm pulling double duty, I'm doing the restreaming and doing commentary at the same time. Whoever's doing the restreaming, or sometimes it's the tracker, will enter the race, and then at the last like 10 seconds or so, they'll quit the race, and the race timer will start after 10 seconds. So I kind of like to give everybody a 1 minute warning so that everybody's ready and focused up. So yeah, a little background, a little behind the scenes for you all. So
Right on. Well, I think it's going to be a pretty good race. On stream, we have Drulith and Javinator. Drulith, of course, the reigning champion of setting records for the standard race seed, the sole owner of the 1 hour 9 minute record for the standard seed. Of course,
but
that's the old
that's
seed.
the
All bets are
old
off now.
Sev
This
rules. That's the old
That's
Sev.
right. That's right. Things are different now. We're in a brave new world. Wait, that's a different mod.
Oh
The
God, don't
worlds
get
have
me singing.
collided differently here. And then, of course, on the other side, we do have Javinator, who held himself very, very well in the battle royale. I think he made was it semifinals, possibly. And I think we see him pretty often on these community races. If not winning, then giving the future winner a run for their money. So this is going to be a great, great race. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Oh, definitely. But a lot of people who have run, I haven't run this yet. I haven't run this news set yet. But from what I've been told, that a lot of people are actually getting their best times they've ever had. So I'm actually interested when I run this to see if I will actually have a best thing I've ever had too. So we'll see. So Racer's gonna be off and running here, like a thundering herd of turtles here in a second. But yeah, like I said, I'm really hoping to see like how how this is going to unfold for me when I try this
Yeah,
out. Oh,
yeah,
I got
me
the clock.
too. I think I've peaked already, but it looks like we do have a steel Edgar. So right away, we're going to see one of those changes. One of the tweaks in this new flag set is that the steel set, I believe, is now set to higher. So it's not a guaranteed steel if you use the steel command, but you have a much better chance of getting the item. So a command that really didn't see a ton of use before, we are now going to see some more stealing, and we're also seeing some some early deviation and routes as both of our racers going to different flavors of South Figaro. This is something I think we see pretty often.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a proponent of doing going to South Figaro first before I go to Narsh. I know that the ship starts in front of Narsh, as we don't see anything in that relic shop on Javinator screen, because you really don't have any money. Like, you only get like maybe 5 items in Narsh, really 5-6 items in Narsh. Not really much money to really try to sell and buy any items that are in there. So I always like to look back around to it later, because Narsh is such a hotbed for many checks. Because you have Mog, you got Terra, you got Kefka at Narsh. I mean, Yamaro, and even in Tritouch, even though that's a different World of Ruin. It's in that area of the map of the world, because, again, there's new version 1. When you switch worlds, your airship is going to be wherever you left off from the previous world. It's not going to reset to Narsh every single time anymore, so...
Yeah, the same. You know, I've sort of started branching on myself. I've often been going to South Figaro, even the Returners hideout early. It's sort of looking for our South Figaro bound racers here. Pretty low key South Figaro so far. I think we've seen a hero ring and a force shield for Drulith, but Javinator just hitting the shops up before he goes downstairs. Javinator taking advantage of that Edgar discount in South Figaro on the World of Ruin side.
Yeah, and also doing the backdoor World of Ruin. You won't have the extra person standing there in the World of Balance. And the fixed dice, hello, for Drulith's screen. I know he's not a fan of it. And fixed dice for Javinator. Okay. So wait, are they both in World of
the
Ruin?
same fixed dice? No, the basement's
the
the same in both
same.
worlds. So yeah, South Figaro upstairs, different downstairs. One beautiful place. So we're seeing them sort of ships crossing in the night here as they both cross over each other, but they've both got that fixed dice. So yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know if either of these racers are really big fixed dice fans. No. Fixed dice, sort of a polarizing item in the community, I find.
That is an
expensive
offering
there for Drulith.
That's an offering for Drulith, possibly. He's selling everything for it. I might be a little bit of a fan of fixed dice now if he can get that if he can get that offering. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think hard to argue with an offering fixed dice early. That should give you a quick kill on most any encounter you fight for the first few levels at least.
And Go can equip it.
Just what you're looking for. Unfortunately, another impact of the flag set. So normally you might be inclined to find some rods, buy some rods, and then duplicate those with Go-Go. But again, there's no breakable rods in the store in this version of the standard race seed. So another bit of value for Go-Go that goes away.
Yeah, but one good thing about having Go-Go in the party, I mean, yeah, you can't learn Espers. You can only learn Espers on one character right now, which is Edgar only. As it looks like Drulith will be backdooring into the South Figaro Cave for some levels by the spring. Some early leveling. There's several places you can go. There's not a very popular one is the Phantom Forest is one. The Narsh World of Ruins another one. Like places where you can fight creatures next to a healing spring to get some early level action going on. So.
Now, one thing I'm a little surprised to see with Drulith, knowing Drulith's approach to some of these standard race seeds, I'm surprised we're not seeing him pick up some of those early free checks to try to optimize level gains with Esper bonuses. I was wondering if we might see a quick check over the Zone Eater Cave.
Actually, he's World of Ruin. He's going straight for the first Edgar check. My bad.
Yeah, no, he's going through the Ancient Castle sequence for Edgar there. So interesting decision by Drulith, and not an approach I've often seen him take in these race seeds.
And dragons are not scaled, I believe, correct?
Good question. I actually thought they were. I know traditionally in the standard race seed, I'm opening this one up now. I think traditionally in standard race seed, they are scaled.
Those are some high rolls come out of Go-Go, killing 3 of the Floods immediately there. So,
yeah, dragons will be scaled. So we won't have to worry about too much craziness involving that.
yeah, I'm really surprised of the early Edgar. Like, I know some of the people in chat are going like, well, fixed dice offering, I feel more comfortable with doing tougher things because I can do mucho 700 damage on some rolls. Yeah, I mean, I could see that, but as Javanir is going to cut past the Vines first check on Edgar, because usually go Vines, Throne, Ancient Castle, Javanir is actually doing that free check that you were mentioning and checking the Throne first before going through the series as he finds a 4-star armor too.
Yeah, I wonder if Javanator might be taking a more traditional approach, doing this this free check, and then maybe even heading right over to Go-Go as he picks up a cat hood. So another nice pickup early on for a defensive item, which might not be super useful now, but will be useful later. And if he can equip it at any point, which he can equip it to Edgar, that's going to be a big boost to his gold at this point.
Yeah, definitely. It's having it this early in the game, getting all that money, and with the Edgar discount, double check, that should be really nice.
Yep. Yeah, he's picking up some nice consumables there from Figaro. And again, every little bit counts at the beginning of the game. It's sort of nice to get some cheap Revivifies and cheap green cherries rather than pay full price for it like a rube, like a common sucker.
I want to give a quick shout out also to our tracker tonight, Ceiling Cat, as always, lurking in the backgrounds, keeping track of these two as they progress their way through the seed. And
who's restreaming this again? Saberwolf, remind me.
Oh, double duty. Yes, my computer's at it again.
Don't be selling yourself short.
Yeah, I got Tiger Rage fired up here and doing the restream. So.
Well, we do see Javanir now doing a little bit more looting here. So heading to the Returner's hideout. Not a place. If you have Terra, you could sort of be efficient and do this with Leet River. I don't think Javanator is holding out for that opportunity. I think at any point if he gets Terra, he probably will not be doing Leet River later on. So probably safe to loot this as Drulith fights the scariest boss in the game, the fierce, the wild, the untamed leader.
Hey, no. I've seen normalized distort crap on leader and smash somebody in the face for a couple thousand damage, so I guess that's the only time leader would be for, but since we're normal stuff, that's not gonna happen. So, yeah.
Even not normal or not normalized in distort, sometimes you catch that leader in one of those statue positions in Kefka and that axe will kill. That axe absolutely has cleaved at least one or two of my my runners in twain.
Nice.
Well, we do see Edgar picking up the first Esper. So Drulith is the proud owner of one Tritalk.
Okay. Not too bad. Oh my goodness, it's fixed! So Javanator now switching over to Narsh here.
And Drulith not immediately going to Ancient Cave. Now it'll be a question of after he does this dead check or this the free check on the throne, whether he'll decide to go back and run the castle through the Ancient Castle, whether he's going to go straight from here to either the Zone Eater or potentially even he could go to Kefka Narsh.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, Drulith, Javanator is still, I guess, looting almost. And actually, he's in I guess he went to World of Ruin Narsh to do that leveling, which is one of the places we mentioned before, to do some leveling at. That's a safe spot to try to get some heals as well. But no rabbits are kind of nice one to face because they don't attack you, they actually heal you, which is kind of nice. I wish all enemies did that.
Seeing some disparaging comments in the chat about the Leet River. I will hear no negativity about the Leet River. It is one of the 2 or 3 best rivers in this entire game. So let's be polite.
You talking about the scenery, or are you talking about
the ambiance, the experience, the company, the excitement, the exhilaration of whitewater rafting? Leet River has it all. There's really nothing you can ask for. But I do wonder now, thinking about it, with the fixed dice offering, I think that this is a position where either of these racers could probably pretty safely solo Boss and Kefka Narsh if they decide to go there, which might be one of their best chances to get a character. Although it looks like Drulith is going to run the castle back down the other way, and hopefully they don't encounter any strange stratums. That would be very unfortunate if they hit a weird stratum on the way here.
Well, my question is he going to fight a dragon, which I'm assuming he will not. I mean, it's way too early in the game for a dragon, I would think. But this is Drulith we're talking about. I mean...
Offering fixed dice could pierce through a dragon pretty quickly. I mean, I don't think you'd have to get too lucky to get through it in 1 or 2 rounds at this point, with the scaling very low, right? I think we've seen... He's got 1 Esper, so 2.5 levels on that dragon, or 2 levels on that dragon. I think he could probably fix dice offering right through a dragon if he wanted to.
Maybe. Still low levels, because, I mean, gem box, okay, that's interesting. But you do have to take into account, though, that as Javinator's actually doing a dragon fight, he's doing an Opera House dragon.
I think it's a great play. We've got those fixed dice early, and you've got that way above curve damage output, assuming you don't get the terrible rolls. Meanwhile, the dragons are not dealing with their best abilities. They're scaled down on their abilities right now, so it's not going to be flare stars. It's going to be a little fire like that.
Yeah, well, let's hope Go-Go got immediate rolls. Let's see how they do. That's a low roll. Yeah, see, even with the 6-5 roll on there, he's still only not even breaking 100 there. As we find the old man frozen in stone at the bottom of the ancient castle is probably as old as the castle, as we find Strago with X magic on board, even with a gem box find.
Yeah, it gets the gem box and the X magic, and then we do see a dragon fight. So both racers trying to leverage that early fixed dice offering combo.
I think Drulith is thinking about doing a Revivify on the dragon, or maybe a potion.
Yeah, I think he's trying to keep his old man up. He's trying to keep the X magic alive.
X magic is a good skill to get, but I mean, it is not very helpful at the moment because we haven't learned any spells or anything at this time, and he wasn't a natural. Oh no, that's a muddle on the Go-Go roller. This is definitely going to be a reset here. Unless he doesn't tag Strago with it, he's going to kill... Okay, so he survived.
Yeah, Javinator didn't, though. Javinator ran into a bit of poor luck with the casting there as well, and he's been set back a little bit behind now because of his last save being all the way back in Narsh, so a little tough one for Javinator.
Oh no, that's rough.
But Drulith does get through that dragon, so again, I mean... it really doesn't take very many. I think 1 or 2 really good fixed dice rolls, and you can kind of get through these guys. So I think it's a medium risk but high reward play.
And an Aegis shield also for those troubles, along with a muscle belt, which could be helpful with like an ammo weapon later on down the road for the high HP values. As Javinator is going to go round 2 with the dragon at the Opera House. Drulith, unfortunately, warpstones do not work in the ancient castle as he does a double back. I guess he wants to check out some of the monster in the box chests, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, maybe he wants that second offering, I suppose.
Oh, he didn't get the treasure chest in the back.
Yeah, he didn't get the chest. He also... So another good incentive. Now, normally, monster in a box... Yeah, normally monster in a box might not be so great, but with the Pugs fight... Now, the Pugs fight was not great before, but with the steal chances turned up to higher in this, you have a much better chance of coming out of there with 1 or more Minervas. So I do think there might be a bit more value to monster in a box now than there used to be as well.
Yeah, and I guess he doubled back for the other 2 looting chests. He got a Mega Set and a Wing Edge. Wing Edge has good stats. A little bit of a stat boost, so that does help a little bit.
Yeah, not bad. It's the poor man's sniper, and you can't really complain too much about a Wing Edge.
Oh, okay, so I thought he was going to go for the what would normally be the offering chest. He's going to skip that, because he does have an offering already. So, not interested. As Javinator just get red.
Much better dice rolls this time around. He rolled the bones a little better this time. So I imagine we will now be seeing Drulith heading towards the Burning House. That would seem either the Burning House or the Zone Eater Cave ought to be the next logical steps for him, unless he decides to throw a real curveball and, I don't know, do something wild like a suicide mission to the Fanatics Tower, or maybe collect coral in Ebbett's Rock.
Well, I would go Ebbett's Rock over any of those first, as our tracker does mention that she would just mimic the Pearl Rod. Just have Edgar cast Pearl Rod and mimic off that. That would be an option.
Yeah, mimicking rods is it's value. It's a shame Pearl Rod, not the wildest rod, but still it's nice to get that value. It feels thrifty, you know. It feels like you're a savvy customer mimicking those rods and super balls. Interesting too that super balls, so rods are not available in stores in this flag set. Super balls are still there, so we're probably already starting to get past the point where a super ball is a super great pickup, but it is something else to keep an eye on in this flag set when you're shopping around for options.
That's interesting. Drula picked up a random peace ring. Any ideas for that? Reason why for that?
Well, one reason could be that he's maybe hoping to pick up an opportunity to get into the Cursed Shield shop in Narsh. So Cursed Shield in the previous standard flag set was a 1 to 32 range, and usually you'd end up on the high end of that because RNG hates all of us. But in the new one, I believe it's between 3 and 14 Cursed Shield battles. So much better chance of getting a Cursed Shield that's actually going to be worth uncursing. And to do that safely, you're either going to be spending some time in the item menu in a fight, or you're going to be using a ribbon or a peace ring, so it might be something like that.
Drulith also finding Mega Elixirs in the World of Ruin South Figaro. Sold the gem box for it, just in case it doesn't get the Magi Master Mega Elixir, because that is part of Kefka. He needs to have the Mega Elixir for the Fallen one at the earlier stage of Tier 4. Javinator is going to go into their fight in the engine room as a Minerva for 14k gold pieces there for Drulith, not an Esper.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a little bit more of the traditional Drulith approach. This is a lot of what we were seeing in his historic personal best world record runs for the previous race seed. Drulith would like to go to a lot of early free checks, try to get as many Espers as possible to get as many of those possible stat bonuses before he started leveling up. So I think we're starting to see echoes of that old strat come back here.
And a 4,600 damage roll there out of Go-Go on Javinator screen will definitely take out Leader.
Yeah, Leader's not got too much to say about that one. And I think that is actually, going back to that Burning House discussion, I think that is maybe a reason why Drulith might not, but I think normally this isn't a terrible time to go do the Burning House. You're early on, and it's a good opportunity to both grab a save, or grab a check and also get above the scaling. However, it does look like Drulith is going down to one party member, and I think we both know where that means he's going next.
Yeah, it means they're going for the Go-Go check here to do the, go into the Belly of the Beast. That'd definitely be a good check to do, because you're definitely guaranteed a Esper, or, well, no, we're not doing free lunch, so never mind. But if we're doing free lunch, that would be guaranteed an Esper or a character.
Now, why is it that he's gone down from 3 just to 1 character?
Because it's faster to get eaten, so that way you don't have to wait for 3 people to get eaten, or even 4 people to get eaten. You don't have to worry about 1 person getting eaten, and you don't fight anything while you're in there, so just throw the Moogle Charm back on that 1 person and just keep on running through. It's min-maxing your speed run, basically.
Yeah, it's a heads-up play that I think we've really become used to as second nature, but one of those things where if you're new to the seed or new to the randomizer, it might not be something that is immediately obvious, but once you do it once, you'll never go back to bringing 3 or 4 people to the Zone Eater Island again.
And something also I've seen that on the pathing and stuff is that I've seen Zelfer, who, by the way, won our Battle Royale tournament not too long ago, was actually traveling, doing all his airship traveling in World of Balance before switching over to World of Ruin to avoid getting into the random boss battle that's the Search the Skies. So that's another thing. He memorized the map to the point where he can memorize where the World of Ruin locations were on when he was in World of Balance. As Drulith goes down for the third time off the bridges, and Javanator gets the dragon.
Those green bridge conductor, impresario, troll conductors, whatever you want to call them, they are terrible, terrible people, and this check is a punishment from somebody who doesn't like us. But he's through it just in time, and no safety save, so Drulith is confident in his ability not to get smushed by the falling roof here, so I hope he does not get smushed.
Well, he always goes the danger route to upgrade all of his speed rest, and yeah, got it. Without even the thing dropping before you got through the door. My goodness. You have to trust your controller, if anything, through that area. I mean... Now we got Terra. There's your Terra. Not mine. Definitely not my Terra.
Jump Terra. So that's another nice pickup. A natural jumper really opens up a nice offensive option. That's a situation, especially when you've got fixed dice. If you can find a dragon horn, that's a nice little pickup.
Yeah, don't know if she can use fixed dice yet because he had fixed dice equipped on Gogo before checking. I might go to the item menu and see if she can equip it. But she can always use high damage items anyway, so she can do decent flat damage with whatever she has. Because she can equip almost anything. So.
Also opens up an awful lot of checks. Terra, one of the characters with the most checks in the randomizer, so lots of options now. I expect we might see a quick trip, perhaps not through the entire sealed cave, but almost certainly I think we will probably see a very quick trip over to the Imperial base to clean up the treasure room at the beginning there.
Yes, very much so. As okay, I was gonna say, like, he started flying in the World of Ruin version. I get a little worried there, but yep, he is going to the treasure room.
Drulith just wanted to scare the death gaze away there as he's taking a fight in the Imperial base, which unfortunately will kick him back out to the front of it. That's 6 wasted steps. You hate to see it.
Yeah.
But some mighty Gogo dice rolls there. Gogo doing all kinds of damage to these bugs and getting turned into a statue as a reward for it.
Oh, that's unfortunate. So I didn't even get the XP off that.
Meanwhile, we see Javanator heading over to Thamasa. Now, he's in the World of Ruin Thamasa, so I'm curious if this is kind of a prelude to hopping out and switching over to the World of Balance in order to do the Burning House, or if he's just shop checking.
Can't you do the Burning House from World of Ruin anyways?
I think it is already heavily burned down by that point. It doesn't burn forever.
Well,
there's only so many
trigger though.
Only so many fire rods.
Oh. Drulith did not pillage the treasure room. He skipped it, actually.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to come and hit it on the way back.
Well, I mean, there's no fights here, so any new items you would find in that room is not going to help you. So I do understand that part, at least. Definitely needs a soft, which I don't think he has. Okay, but luckily he's on a save point for a sleeping bag, so that works.
So Javanator heading into the Burning House. We'll see he's dodged 2 fireballs right off the start. Look at those slick moves from Javanator.
Oh, the Prometheus, one of the ones you really don't see very often. Is the reskin of tunnel armor that's found later in the game.
Yeah, always a pleasure to run into Kefka's Tower monsters in the Burning House. But again, you've got the fixed dice, so I don't think this will be too bad of a deal. But a time sink to run into 7 or 8 of these things if you hit a bunch of the fireballs.
More hero rings for Drulith. Anybody wondering what's the difference between a hero ring and an earring? Not very much. The magic is actually the same. It's just that the offense gets added with the hero rings. So if you equip, so hero rings are technically more valuable as we find a free Mega Elixir for Drulith, which means the extra purchase on the Mega Elixir was for naught.
A hero ring, basically earrings combined with an Atlas armlet. Unfortunately, the Atlas armlet side does not stack, so you can't become a muscle man by equipping 2 of them, but you certainly can combine hero ring with another hero ring or earrings for that double magic boost, and that is a fine way to make a strong character.
Very much so, as we do not find a character here in the Terra check here. Instead, we find another set of fixed dice, which we do have Genji Glove. I don't think because we have a head-to-head race, we're not just trying to get through a C. We're not going to see double fixed dice Genji Glove offering action, because I know that's really slow on a race.
Yeah, it's tough to watch that many slow fixed dice animations as Drulith does circle back to grab that treasure room.
But it will guarantee you getting through the rest of the game, that's for darn sure. Not seeing anything. Oh, there's a Genji Glove, so guaranteed Genji Glove fixed dice off of this double check here.
Yeah, definitely seeing some of the, I don't want to say downside, but the one I think biggest frustration of the Burning House, it's not that these are dangerous grind fights that Javinator's taking, but they are time consuming. These are all taking 3, 4, 5 actions to get through these Promethei, and that's a time sink, even though he is getting good XP from it.
And brain pans are no picnic either. I mean, you have to waste a warp stone here. Unfortunately, you only had 2 of them.
Yeah, very annoying monster. You don't want to get blowfish. That'll be an instant kill for anybody at this point. I see a question in chat about steal chances. Yes, steal chances are higher, so they're not set to always, but they are set to higher.
Yeah, which will make the steal everything items thing, I think was like you can only get items by stealing, which should make that one probably a little more interesting now.
Yeah, really increases the value of some fights. I mean, I think again we were talking a bit about it earlier, but the pugs fight from that monster in a box, really just a tough one to justify normally. But now that you have a decent chance of getting Minerva, might change the outlook towards monsters in a box a little bit. Also nice when you encounter some of those early Kefka's Tower bosses. So if you do have the good fortune of fighting one of the statues, you can at least steal something like an Excalibur or something like that from them, which not the worst thing in the world.
Oh, and in the Burning House is a monster that's actually allergic to fire, and Senor Behemoth. Este muy cliente.
As Drulith continues to revert to classic Drulith strategies and heading to the auction house to try to pick up some early espers to build off of, as Javinator rolling all the dice against the senior behemoth, and he is not long for this world.
No, not at all.
Now, he did have a bit of bad timing. His dice were so good, he'd queued up that Tritalk summon before the first version of Senior Behemoth died, and it does not retarget after the second one comes in, so Tritalk summoned and did not show up for business. He was here to kill the first Senior Behemoth. He had no interest in killing that second one.
Well, Behemoth is actually pretty good because as we find a Bahamut Esper as well, but Behemoth Suit instantly can be put onto Strago. It's Strago's best armor in the game, so that'll be good for them. As we find Ice 2, Life 2, Cure 3 on the Bahamut Espers. That's some good spells out of that.
Yeah, pretty much all you need from a healing standpoint. Sadly, still no stat boosts on either of these Espers we've seen early. Fairly slow start to the seed, in fact.
Yeah, and as a Druid still having no luck trying to find an Esper here, picked up a Kung Fu armor on the last chest, and we find a natural Zone Seek there.
Yeah, right where it's supposed to be. What do you know? I wonder if he's going to go back in after and grab a Golem as well.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. Double vanilla Espers at auction house? Like, wow. Like, what are the chances of that even happening? Yeah, Vincent, is this even randomized, bro? Nah, I don't know.
Javinator is now looking to collect some coral. So, oh, and Drulith is hitting the Drulith strategy. He did pick up a +1 magic power on that zone seek. So, a nice pickup, especially where I think earlier we saw him putting earrings on Terra. So, I wonder if he has a mind to make Terra a designated caster at some point here.
I will say though, for chat though, is that we were wondering if anybody else was going to jump in on the restream tonight. Which Javinator did finally jump in. I was like, Drulith, I would play you, but I would have won a 20-minute head start, and he said deal. So that was our backup race, was me versus Drulith, me with a 20-minute head start. So you guys could pick me apart until he started and kicked my butt.
Drulith picking up that magic power Esper and immediately going for another dragon. So again, this is really kind of classic Drulith strategy here of get that magic power bonus and then try to get as many levels off of it as you can. I think his characters are all between level 11 and 14-ish, so he's going to be getting a good 20 levels or so of magic power, which the way magic damage is calculated, 20 magic power is a big damage boost by the time you get to the final fights.
Yep, he's going to find a red Darkin, which unfortunately Ice 2 is not available to them yet, or Water. So still relying on Gogo's dice rolls here, as that's a low roll. It's still kind of a low roll. Nope, not much there.
Pretty good luck for Javinator.
He is double! He is double dicing it. Wow! Make a liar out of me, Drulith.
Javinator's in the long grind fight of fighting against a bunch of piranhas. This is always a bit of a painful one sometimes, but not this time. He had a very fortunate encounter there, just like he had a good fortune at Ebbets Rock, and he's got a quick time to get to Rizzo Pass.
Yeah, and kicking out some big Esper summoning damage between Tri-Dazzler and Mega Flare here. Yeah, that'll take care of it.
You're making a lot of use of Esper summons early on here. I guess when you don't have a lot of other great offensive options outside of fixed dice, why not summon those Espers?
Yeah, I mean those are actually if you're not getting any good Espers like for casting of spells, but you got good Espers for offense, why not? As reward for Javinator is going to be Edgar's brother Sabin.
Wow, so he's got 2 of the 3 Figaro brothers. That's pretty nice. And again, Sabin, a lot of good checks available as well. So he really is open. It's funny, both of our racers actually have opened the seat up significantly, but in very different directions.
Yeah, Terra and Sabin both have the most checks available to them, albeit Terra's may be a little bit longer than it takes for Sabin's checks. Because you have to climb all the way up Zostone back. You do have your favorite river that you can wash yourself down as well. But it looks like Drulith's immediately going to be going to Welk and possibly follow it up also with a Kefka and Narsh as well here for Drulith. As Javinator is going for Falling House.
Question in chat about the third Figaro brother. That would be Umaru, of course.
Yeah, Umaru, which today it's actually going to be Shadow, as Shadow is behind Umaru. So a little peek there.
Javinator opting not to get the cheap. Oh, he's selling to get the reward from the Zen Thief, which will sadly just be a Minerva. Well, I guess sadly, depending on how you want to look at it, but not an Esper, which I think is what Javinator is really looking for.
Well, I will say Drulith's very happy with that Minerva after finding Terra, though. So, because that is Terra and Celeste's best armor. And timer is on for the for standard here. That's interesting. As we find a third set of Fig Dice. What is this?
Yeah, lots of dice to be rolled in this one. It's a very specific offense setup we're going to have for our racers here. I think we're going to see a lot of dice rolled throughout this seed, apparently.
And just for everybody know, Kat is the one that rolled the seed. Just so everybody know, as we find a Doulahan charging the fight up Narsh. Ooh, and that tag does hit Strago there at Muglu.
Well, Javinator having a nice quick trip into the collapsing house, and no character reward from that one. But again, lots of good options for Javinator. All those Saban checks, a lot of very quick checks, and also a Phantom Train available to him
now. Sorry, Cat. Plausible deniability, she says. Man,
I'm respectful. I'm respectful to our production team. I would never speak ill of our wonderful trackers. So you're on your own with that one, Saberwolf.
Oh, okay. So no, I may have want thrown underneath the bus. My cohort here, and that's a dead Doulahan.
Yeah, not usually too scary of a fight, and in this instance, remaining not very scary. Javinator taking the opportunity to grab a couple more shop checks, but nothing too remarkable there in terms of weapons.
No, as we get Jurlik gets relied with Seraphim. Gotta make sure Edgar stays on top of the discounts in case you go to those random shops. Now we'll see if he hits up Welk on the way back down the hill here. That is a check that will be pretty much nearby, or you're basically walking past it, so almost guaranteed he'll hit it.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he didn't. I can't imagine he'd be waiting for the potential of getting Mog, and it's a fight he can take. I don't think he's in accumulate Espers before fighting mode anymore, so yeah, he's making the right-hand turn there and going right up there and looking to get an item or Esper reward. So the Seed not super generous with character rewards so far.
No, we do find a French vanilla Kafka and Narsh. He's in the Welk Cave instead of being on top of the hill. He's under the hill. Mr. Underhill Kafka.
Very French right there. That's like French Indonesian Kafka. I think.
French Indonesian. French Guiana, maybe? I mean,
definitely not from France, I guess. It's Quebecois. It's very Quebecois Kafka right there, I think is what we found.
Kafka's a conehead? I don't even know what the reward was. I don't even care. That's a Phoenix, okay. With strength. Okay, so that's be good for terror, I guess.
Yeah, also gives him access to Quick as well, so Quick a handy one to have for some of those later fights.
Oh, we got a spicy chicken in chat, everybody, in Mount Colts there.
Yeah, Poltergeist, a very scary boss to run into at almost any point of the Seed. Poltergeist, one of the 3 Warring Triad statue bosses. These are bosses you would fight at the end of the vanilla game, and of course in the Worlds Collide Randomizer, we can run into them anywhere because it's Randomizer. They're very scary to be jumped unexpectedly at a time like this, so I'm sure this is not exactly what Javinator wanted to see, but look at that, he's leveraged that high steal chance and got a red jacket out of it.
Yeah, red jacket, which is actually Saban and Edgar is one of their better armors they can equip in the game. And Drulith looks like they'll be going for Terra's Zozo check. I don't think the clock made it into standard, right?
I don't think there's any reward associated with it other than the normal one, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a vanilla clock anyway. So
yeah,
it's a lot of work to get one general normal chest.
Yeah, one of the things we were trying to do was to create a way to make some of the parts of the game that you don't normally do or don't normally see to be a viable check or objective that you can do to get some sort of cool thing added to your repertoire, as we do find a Fire 3 on Odin, I believe, or Ramu, one or the other. And the clock was one of them where the clock wasn't the vanilla standard of, I believe it was at 61050. It's not the standard that it would actually be randomized, and you have to talk to everybody in town to figure out what it is. And by unlocking the clock there would actually give you an objective reward or whatever you want to set it to.
Yeah, we do occasionally see some flags that do some fun stuff like that. I know we've had a few where you've had to help the injured lad in Miranda send all those letters to his girlfriend, or help Sid live, or potentially on the other side of that, make Sid die.
Well, those are cool because we do have other races that we sometimes run here on Final Fantasy VI: The Worlds Collide. You check us out on Thursdays and Saturday nights around 8 p.m. right here on the FF6 Worlds Collide on Twitch. We do also do some runs and races where we do like a bingo night where you have to complete a bingo card, and some of those objective ideas kind of made it into the game. So, yeah. So we actually could probably force it to where you have to do each of those objectives maybe to unlock Kefka as part of the bingo card. So that may be an idea.
I say, Wolf, are you a fan of doing the clock? Are you a clock enthusiast?
I do. I will talk to everybody in town, write all the notes, and still not be able to actually figure out what the damn clock is.
Yeah, it's a fun riddle to fail to solve. I'm right there with you.
And thank you, our tracker, Ceiling Cat, who's not just taking in on the action, she's also one of our admin in chat updating the flag set. So there you go. In case you want to figure out what the flags these guys are running, you want to try it out for yourself to get all these fixed dice we're finding, go ahead and hit !flags.
So some interesting divergence has continued to happen between our racers. So Javinator picking up some really interesting offensive options. I think he just got a Merton caster at that point, which will go well with that red jacket he stole, and he's getting a Setzer to be added to his team shortly. Meanwhile, Drulith picked up an experience egg, and that's going to really help his power level spike here.
Drulith with an experience egg and a magic +1. Oh boy. He's going to be tough to beat now.
Javinator is reconfiguring his relics. He's spreading rage rings around, and I think he might be heading down the Merton road. Now, Why is he putting rage rings and things like that on for Merton?
Well, rage rings actually does provide protection against fire damage. As Druid does find an Esper on the top of the Zozo Tower that is an Alexander, and will warp out with one of his tons of warp stones he has. But yeah, rage rings, snow mufflers, red jackets, flame and ice shields. Those are the kind of items you want to have on your party to prevent fire damage going onto your party. The best thing to have are even Minerva's also, and Paladin shields also. Those are some other ones too. But flame shields like that are the best ones because not only does it prevent the damage, you actually heal yourself. It's not only that you're doing like thousands and thousands of damage to the enemies, you're actually healing yourself thousands and thousands of HP. So
very, very efficient, killing two birds with one stone by Mertoning up your own hit points.
Snowmuffer doesn't block Merton, I'm sorry, because of the wind damage. My bad. It blocks fire, but it doesn't block the wind portion, I believe.
Yeah, can't forget that Merton is not only fire but wind.
Yeah.
And Drulith, he picked up those two chests at the top of Zozo, and one of them held a sword, which we like to call the Ragnarok. So Drulith's offense just growing again, which will go very nicely with that Genji glove he picked up earlier.
Let's see. Now, this is a peek you could do. You talk to the girl in the back of the room to figure out what character Esper that might be there. And we're finding out that Locke is apparently making babies. And, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Drulith has decided he is going to take Locke away. And I wonder now if we'll see him put that peace ring to use and head on down to Nourish and uncurse his shield.
Yep. Now we roll these flags and seeds like only minutes before the start of this, so our runners do not have a chance to actually look and see what the heck they have to find. We basically roll these seeds and everything, and they're immediately playing it soon after. So.
Another piece of Magicite Javinator picking up from Setzer's Kolingen check. He's getting another magic power +1, Merton casting Magicite. So that's really going to help. I think Javinator's really now got a great opportunity to come up with a Merton build, which, again, as we talked about earlier, one of the stronger offensive options throughout the seed.
Now, people are probably wondering in chat, like, why the heck did Drulith stone Terra and kill Strago? Well, Baba, when he does his sneeze, will prioritize dead characters on your party. So this will guarantee that Edgar and Gogo, who are the highest 2 damage dealers on his party, to stay.
Yeah, smart playing around that Baba breath, as Baba will always get rid of 2 people, and then you'll end up fighting a boss, which may or may not be something you really are not prepared to fight with 2 characters. So very good way of stacking the deck there, as Javinator searches the skies and is rewarded with the lovely Rexol, another occasionally annoying boss to fight.
Monkey, some of us do respect the doggos and not step on them to prevent that. Now, some people like to step right as soon as you go through the door before you go down to where Locke was, which will stop the dog from spawning, so you don't have to wait for him to walk all the way across the room before you go down the stairs.
Yeah.
But we don't want any PETA violations here, okay?
No, we're dog lovers here. We respect the dog. We're not going to make that dog not exist, of course.
It looks like it's a Locke with throw, which is not a bad ability to have. But unfortunately, Locke is a low level, so he's not going to be very helpful in this fight.
Yeah, I think throw, again, one of those commands that really strong throughout the seed, so I think Drulith will be very happy with this Locke pickup at this point, especially as he might not want to be taking Gogo all the way.
Well, Gogo being the double dice dealer and doing all the damage right now as Javinator gets through his fight and starts the skies check. Locke is going to substitute in for Strago. We have not found any good spells. We found Ice 2 and Fire 3, and that's about it for X-Magic. So, no, oh, sorry. I guess he didn't substitute him in. I thought I clicked on Strago, but I guess not. As it is a dead check for Javinator.
Oh, a Genji helmet.
Bad.
Not exactly what we want to see. Yeah, when you do not get a character in Esper from a check, you're rewarded with what we would consider a high value or a high tier item. Some of those are not as high tier as others. The Genji helmet certainly not at the top of that pile, unfortunately.
No, I mean Genji armor maybe, but not a helmet.
It's certainly among the 3 best Genji equipment. Drulith's picking up Fenrir. Now,
Fenrir.
What is so good about Fenrir?
Fenrir.
I mean,
yeah, go ahead. You go, Fenrir.
No, please, tell me about Fenrir. I'm a wolf lover. You're a wolf lover, but beyond just being a wolf, what is so good about Fenrir other than the obvious link to your motif?
Fenrir allows you to get through Tier 3 Kafka by helping block the calmness effect or evade the calmness effect on your characters. And calmness is a physical ability that's used by Tier 3 Kefka Sleep. Right before he dies, he tries to take out a couple people, 1 or maybe even 2 people with him. And Fenrir is one of the preventions that against that. So. Yeah, Genji helmet, distant fourth behind glove, shield, and armor. I would say glove, armor, then shield and helmet.
God, I forgot the stupid shield existed. That's how down on Genji-themed items I am. I'm not a big Genji fan. Not in this game.
No, I'm going to look that up. See, was there ever a Genji sword?
Javinator is going full Merton, as both of our racers have taken very different paths to arrive at the exact same spot. We've got double dragons here, both taking on the gold dragon. Javinator finishing it up, Drulith not far behind. Yeah, those Merton casts are really kind of speeding up the fights for Javinator here.
Apparently there was a Genji blade, also known as Genjito, Genji Katana, or Minamoto's Katana. It was first appearance was in Final Fantasy X. It was also available in 13.2, 14.15, Type 0 as well. Oh, it's also in Dissidia Opera Omnia apparently as well. As a weapon? No idea.
Well, Javanator is fighting the Guardian at the back of Narsh in the Tritok position. Obviously, we have no Umaro, so nobody's going into the Yeti cave in this situation. Both of them, I think, are getting up the levels. Javanator already well over the level 30 mark. Drulith about 5 behind. So Javanator, I think, is probably essentially in go mode as soon as he can get his requirements filled here.
No, he's kind of in go mode, like, damage-wise, because he's doing the double Mertens, or 2 Merton users are being constantly healed. Would like to see some sort of healing aspect given to Gogo. Of course, cannot use a Flame Shield because of the double dice, if he's going to double dice, as we're going side-by-side Guardian action here. But I don't know, I guess he can't use the Red Jacket, I'm assuming. And I don't know what else you can use. I mean, you can't. There's no relic replacement either.
No, I mean, I'm sure they'll find something. And I think the Cure 3, so we did see Cure 3 on an Esper, and I think Javanator had that, correct?
Yeah. Ooh, big roll coming out of Drulith's Go-Go is back-to-back 9k damages. Oh, it's a dead chick again!
Wow. And another of the illustrious Genji set. So he is looking to pick up the Genji set bonus. I believe if you equip all 4 pieces of Genji equipment, I think it gives you, the Gamma Sword? What do you get for the set bonus of the Genji set?
Oh, I don't know if it's in this version of the game, actually.
No, I don't think it's in any version, unfortunately. But it would be nice. It would be nice to make the Genji set do something good. If maybe it turns you into Gilgamesh or something for equipping it all. Yeah, you get a gold star. That's the reward.
You get a gold star, people.
Javanator is going to jump off a waterfall and see what happens there as Drulith is going in a different direction. So they're splitting up again as Drulith heads to a different watery area to fight a boss in front of a pond.
Yeah, definitely divergence in checks here between we're having Sabin and Setzer versus Locke and Terra as, oh boy, that is a Magimaster on the screen. I do not see Berserk being learned on anybody, so
not a very,
Gogo with
not
double
a terribly
quick.
scary. Yeah, not too scary when you've got the fixed dice combo here. I think the Magimaster is pretty poorly equipped to deal with our racers right now.
Yeah, but those are low rolls coming out of a Quicken Gogo who's able to be rolling 16 dice attacks here. He'll get through the fight next Tuesday, though. Yeah, that's gonna be a dead Magimaster on the first set of rules.
Yeah, I think either of our racers are in fine position if they run into Magimaster. So right now, for a kind of nice change for them, Magimaster is just a free Mega Elixir. But yeah, that Force Shield, we are getting no love on some of these checks.
That's actually a 3rd Mega Elixir for Drulith. So plenty of healing. He can heal at the beginning of each tier, actually. Now, Javanator is going to get a reward out of this. Not sure if it's a character or Esper yet. As Drulith goes to the Tower of the Magi, which is not a character, so he's noping out of that one.
No, although given the number of dead checks we've seen, as Cyan shows up for Javanator, given the number of dead checks we've seen already, probably a decent chance that that's at least an Esper at the Fanatics Tower.
Yeah, I agree with that. But Javanator with Cyan, that's immediate trip to Dream. Maybe stopping at leader check as we have Capture with very low stats on Cyan. He's not going to be part of the roster, I think. But
we're seeing that new standard seed change there as there is, compared to the previous standard seed where stats were always 100%, here there is that variance from 180 to I think 125. So I don't think our Cyan really benefited from it on this seed.
No, 37 Vigor, 30 Magic Power, that's not going to cut it. As leader, we get my girl, Celeste. Another character pickup, that is character number 7. So we got all the characters we need for Javanator. But we're still really behind on Espers, though. What's Celeste have? We could try to put her
Celeste
in,
has sword tech. Celeste has sword tech, which is interesting because I do wonder if this is a point where Javinator is going to do the Cyan Dream. I suppose it probably makes sense. You can only get one character out of it, so this is probably a good time to do it. And then, considering that he's so low on Espers, he's now got a character that gives him a very, very quick way to get a couple Espers through the Magitech Factory.
Yeah, Magitech Facility and the Dream. That's at least 5 or 6 Espers out of that.
I think Javinator's
at least 4 Espers.
Path has been charted. I think the path forward is clear for Javinator now.
Oh yes, definitely. We are going straight to Major Magitech Facility because we're already in the World of Balance, and then hit Dream. But we're really on the fence about getting Celeste going, because going through the Dream will unlock all the sword techs for her, since she is the sword tech user, as Drula finds the Piranha check that we saw earlier from Javinator's run through. Would slot that in, but I don't know who you would drop out of the team, though, for that. I mean, Edgar is really the only one, but he was around since the beginning of the game, knows all the spells already, so I really don't know a good spot to really put her in. As looks like, yeah, Edgar is getting stripped of all of his gear, so it looks like Celeste will be slotted in for Edgar.
Yeah, and given that he's doing that, I would suspect he's going right to the Dream from here.
Yeah, which we'll get. So now, Sword Tech learning to learn them all. Before version 1 of this game for standard and everything, you got all the Sword Tech abilities like you would in the vanilla original part of the game. For standard, or from version 1 and on, I should say, getting the Sword Tech abilities are actually unlocked when you complete it. It was added in as an objective. So for standard, we add that as an objective like it was in the older versions of the Worlds Collide. But you can make that learning sword techs as a different objective or a different way of learning those. So
yeah, and I'm sure I am not the only one who occasionally in a non-standard seed will do the Dream thinking it will unlock all the sword techs and then realize after that that's not one of the objectives. Luckily here, that's not the case. It will be an objective here, so Javinator, for one, is probably well inclined to, and it looks like he is going right to take the Dream.
Yeah, people don't know this, but Mithril Staff does add a couple of magic power points to your character, so that's why sometimes people keep the magic staff, the Mithril Staff around, because it will actually boost your magic power a little bit as Druith goes back to the Falling House town again. Oh, he hasn't done it yet. Okay. Which I believe this is dead, if I'm not mistaken, so he's not going to find an Esper character here.
No, and Hefe pointing out that Celeste lacks Merton protection, so unfortunately, Javinator, he doesn't know it, but he could have had it. He, if he had bought that Zen Thief, he would have had a Minerva for young Celeste.
Yeah. He does have Cat Hood, so he should have plenty of cash on hand to get that, as we do see another Life 2 available from one of the new Espers given here. Genji Glove back on Go-Go to do double fixed dice action again. There is a timer here. You're inside the building, and the timer is counting down here, Drulith.
Yeah, I think he's probably not too worried. I don't think he'll be taking too many fights. Obviously, with the early offering, neither of our racers have really even sniffed at any of these monster hunter boxes. So I think Drulith will be spending some leisurely time in the menus and then leaving this collapsing house before any children or passersby are crushed by it.
Well, you look for the chest specifically for offering, and since we already have offering on hand, that's not really needed. So no sense of checking chests if there's something you already have. But Drulith is going to find Val very quickly. I believe that's going to be a dead check for them off this. I should look at my note. I have the tracker sheet thanks to Kat. No, I'm sorry.
Yes,
it is an
once
Esper
again,
Ramu. I am sorry.
Once again, Ceiling Cat keeping us running with those crazy tracking skills. We would not be able to keep track of any of this without their invaluable help, so thank you once again.
I ran tracking one time, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is really hard. and that was on a refeed. Like, I knew what half the stuff was going to happen, too, so...
Oh yeah, I can't live without auto-tracking on my own.
We got
let alone somebody else's.
with Berserk. Which Javanator has not found Magic Master yet, but he doesn't have a lock to find it anyway, so he doesn't care about that. Do we know what we're fighting for yet? We don't know what we're fighting yet for Dream yet, do we? It is going to be not a character.
No, another non-character check, but in this case, probably exactly what Javanator is hoping for. Obviously, he's hit 7 characters, and there's no skip in a standard race seed, so this is just what he's hoping to see.
Drulith is about to get Cyan off of this jumping down the waterfalls. Finally listening to the rivers and the lakes like he used to. We'll be picking up a Cyan, not a very good Cyan, but we'll be unlocking the dream checks that we see Javanator doing. And we'll be getting a Golem Esper off that possibly as well, so that will definitely catch Drulith up to Javanator here.
Yeah, now I do wonder if Drulith will be heading to the Dream or not. Drulith does not have the Sword Tech incentive to do it, so there are some other options for Drulith to explore in lieu of going to the Dream.
Yeah, but your good runners are going to go after spots and checks on the map that have good synergy or multiple rewards for doing certain areas. Like as soon as he got Terra, he mainly went to Nars to do Kefka at Nars and Terra check, because you got a combo there that you can check in the same spot, so you can do it a lot more efficiently. So, and since Dream in of itself is already a triple combo reward for doing it, that already gives it a huge incentive to get through it. And needing only 3 more Espers to complete the unlock of Kefka's Tower, that I'm pretty sure he's going to be going straight there. We'll probably do Leader first, maybe. Okay, make a liar out of me. You're going to go do Phantom's Train, probably because it's right there next to you.
Yeah, I think having filled the character requirements, you might be more inclined to do some checks that you can peak early so that you can try to make sure that you're not doing any character checks. Obviously, the Dream does have that slot in the middle where you might get the character, so I think the Drulith might be looking for peakable checks, and he's found one. He's found a Magicite now. Is he going to continue it? I think we might see a full train finish here. So,
yeah,
as Javanator deals with the Atma weapon on his side over in the end of the Dream.
Yeah, but Go-Go at this point, with all the levels and everything, with the quad 9s on dice rolling, we're pretty good on this. And Celeste, using Stunner, because she is a decent magic power user anyways, will take take care of that fight.
Yeah, both of our racers, I think, especially after those fixed dice pickups, haven't been too many offensive lapses here. I think both have had pretty solid offenses all the way through, and probably more than enough damage to get through Kefka's Tower and Final Kefka at this point.
Yeah, the problem is, if you throw things at these dancers, they're going to throw stuff back in your face. They're kind of like monks in D&D. They can catch things and throw things back at you. Yes, I just used a D&D reference. I'm sorry, people.
Javanator spending a little more time tightening up his Espers here. Probably one of the last adjustments he'll need to make as he's shuffling around some magic power bonuses. Javanator, pretty high level now. I think he's late 30s, early 40s. So again, offense not going to be a problem as we head into the end game of this seed here.
So Javanator fighting, I believe was, I believe it was only 2 Espers off that series. 3.
Yeah, I think he did come out with 3. So again, he's got a few good options here, including that first 2 bits of Match Tech Factory. Now, in a situation like this, Saberwolf, why might Javanator...
Yeah, he got Minerva. Oh my goodness. As you were saying.
Yeah, so in a situation like this, Javanator, if he was going to do something like Match Tech Factory, would you see him doing all 3, or do you think he might leave the Match Tech Factory early? And if so, why?
No, because we have Mount Zozo available. We have Daryl's Tomb also, I think, available. I don't think he's done Daryl's Tomb yet. Yes, he has. I'm sorry. So he did. No, he did Check the Skies. Not done Daryl's Tomb. So we have Daryl's Tomb. Mount Zozo is also available on the table. We have Terra's jail is also available to check. There's too many other checks to do all 3 Magitech facilities that get locked in on the train car of it. And yeah, he's even skipping the chest. So get the Infinite battle, get the Magimaster Junior battle, and out. Don't even care about the third one.
No, that third check too does give you that chance at a character, and again, just not what Javinator is looking for right now.
Exactly. So it increases the chances of getting something you don't want. But yeah, after this one, I would say probably do Mount Zozo, since that's probably a faster check of the ones that are available that I mentioned. Now, for time saving, for those trying to min-max your efficiencies on this, you want to run to Infrared first to start the battle, but then you can actually talk to Shiva after the fact to get the reward after the battle. And she's standing right in front of the door, so you immediately talk to Shiva and get your reward and continue running up the stairs from there. Some people go back to Infrared a second time to get the reward, but you don't have to. You go straight up to Shiva and run right through the door.
Interesting here that Drulith is going to continue with this Imperial encampment, considering that it's another character here. I think is he this pleased with the fact that he's going to be getting some quick checks after, given that you've got a good chance from Death Gaze of getting an Esper? Is that his plan here?
Yeah, I mean, Setzer has two of the quickest checks in the game between Culligan Tavern and Search the Skies. So finding Setzer is really not a bad thing, because he, again, like I said, he has 2 of the fastest checks to do in the game. Even his longest one, which is Daryl's Tomb, is really not that long. So, in the speed of things, again, efficiency kills time. I think he does not mind getting a Setzer off this.
Javinator just looking for one more Esper. Decent chance coming up on this next check on this final boss here in Magitech Factory to grab that last Esper. If that's the case, I think Javinator would be heading to Kefka's Tower with a sizable lead at this point.
Drew, if Setzer going to do leader, he's going to find another character here, which is going to be Celeste, something he does not want, so I would think he's probably going to reset off this. Unfortunately. Yep. There's the hard old school reset of various colors on the screen for that.
Yeah, really unfortunate. I suspect if he'd gone the other direction, he probably would have been more inclined to take Celeste if he hadn't just already taken Setzer. It's unfortunate that it went in that order there.
Yeah, so Drulith's now off and running again, going to Culligan, like I said, to get one of those very quick checks off Setzer. After this, I'd imagine they're probably going to go World of Ruin, Search the Skies. Is going to get that Manduin Esper off that check, so that's Esper number 9 for them, as Y Remove is not on. And they finally finds Merton for them, and we'll equip it.
Yeah, he's late to the Merton party compared to Javinator, who's been hanging out in Merton Town this whole time and has just hit his final Kefka objective. So again, really taking full advantage of that Magitech Factory. A great spot to pick up a couple of quick Espers, and Javinator knows it.
Yep, and uses that Warpstone to get out of there, and now is on the hill to try to go for Kefka. And like I predicted, Drulith is doing the Search the Skies check for the 10th possible Esper. That is Rexol. That is, let's see. That is actually going to be a dead check off this, so we'll have to find something else. This is the Genji helm we saw earlier. Javinator into Kefka's Tower 108, call it 53.
Yeah, pretty quick time. I mean, in a standard race seed, this is not too bad to get to Kefka's Tower, especially considering that this is a pretty slow seed starting out. I think we saw both of our racers really kind of spending a little time dealing with a lot of dead checks. I mean, I'm pretty sure we've seen about a dozen various pieces of Genji gear go out there, so some slow starts early on that sped up near the end. So Good time considering.
And for those of you that are just watching this for the first time, this is the Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. This is the randomizer for Final Fantasy VI or 3, depending on which generation you grew up in with this game. Our two runners tonight is Drulith and Javinator. Now, they only can see their screens. They do not know what the other one's doing or what other checks they've done. These are completely blind to each other. I am Saberwolf. I am joined by Double Down in the booth. And also, we do have Ceiling Cat in the background doing the tracking for us.
Yeah, doing a great job at that tracking. And, you know, one of those things, too, if people do get involved in the community, there's always opportunities, too, for folks to get involved on this side of things as well. We always love to have more people participating in Restream, participating in tracking. So, you know, come join the community, hop on our Discord. We are all very friendly, very happy to see some new folks, and always happy to have more people getting involved in the game as we see Javinator dealing with an occasionally very annoying boss to see later on.
Yeah, the Three Stooges, not what you want to see. For this battle, you want to kill the top one first. That is the fire. Each one of these represent an element. If you played Final Fantasy IV, it kind of, instead of being 3 girls, it's actually 3 boys. The top one's fire. It can also bring the other 2 back to life. The one in the rear is actually can be hurt by instant deaths, like X Zone. But if all 3 of them are up, then you see the Delta hit, which actually turns one of your characters into stone.
Yeah, this is exactly why you hate to see these guys later on in Kefka's Tower. This is annoying seeing them here, but it's later on when you run into them and you've got that only 1 or 2 people in your party, especially in a seed where maybe you don't have big numbers, that you hate to run into them with one of your little parties. So fortunately, it's a 3-person party and the stone is not going to hold them back too much.
Oh no. Okay, so Drulith again did what I mentioned before, where Javinator was going to back out of the Magic Tech facility if he didn't find the whatever regardless what he's going to find after the first 2 checks, because you had the other fast checks of the 2 sets of checks and Mount Zozo. Well, Mount Zozo, we didn't know what it was, but it is going to be an item which is a dead check, something that Drulith does not want to see, unfortunately, and I don't think he's even going to grab it to increase the levels. Nope. By not grabbing the item there, he is not going to complete the check on that, so we'll actually not progress the levels for it.
Javinator playing with fire over there. Very nearly had his whole party turned to stone. He's taken a second Delta hit and just finally got rid of the top stooge and is now able to instant death that back one. But yeah, very scary boss fight for Javinator there, considering we saw Javinator coming in with very, very strong offense and very high levels. Surprised, to be honest, to see this fight be such a barrier for Javinator.
Yeah, I agree. That's Big Brain not taking that item. It's almost like a peek. Like, you can run through the whole thing and actually peek the final thing. So that's actually an interesting thing. I never even thought about peeking on that one. I thought by just getting to the cutscene, you actually got the objective complete. But apparently, if it's an item or an Esper even, I guess you could say, I guess you don't get it. Or actually, no, you have to run up and talk to the person too. So yeah, you can actually just skip it no matter what it is. That's interesting.
Yeah, another one of those wrinkles that we see exposed and taught to us by some of these great racers. And again, we've got 2 of those.
Okay. And that is Shiva. And it's okay, and it's Shiva Infert. Alright, so this will be the final Esper for Drulith. That will unlock Kefka's Tower, though they are currently, let's see, they're about 6 or 7 minutes behind right now on Javinator's entry to the tower.
Yeah, Javinator, despite the challenges with the Three Stooges, Javinator's come into this with a big high-level party. All that offense, he's been carefully honing that Merton sword this whole time. I think Javinator is he's off to a big lead. Now, of course, Drulith is one of the best. I think if anybody can catch up to this lead, it's Drulith, but it might still be a close finish, but Javinator definitely off to a very large lead at this stage in the game.
Yeah, well, it is going to be... Well, it depends on how well they can get through the Three Stooges fight right now. Because it is a very difficult boss to get through at this stage of the game. So time will only tell on that one.
Yeah, Drulith picking up another Bolt 3 Esper. Probably a little late for Drulith to find two guys to learn it, but some nice late offensive addition for his team if he chooses to learn the spell.
Drulith actually has about a 5 level advantage on Javinator. Javinator's in the mid-30s, while Drulith's actually in the 40s for his team. Level 46 specifically for Gogo. Now, how do you want to set up your team here for getting into Kefka's Tower?
Oh boy, there's so many different approaches to that. I know the way I've tended to do it, I try to put people who can solo stuff in parties 1 and 2, and then that third group, they're the group that's going to fight more bosses than anybody else. I'll put my 2 weaker guys together in there, as well as, you know, spread the spare stuff around. Now that's my approach. Obviously, a lot of different ways to do it. Saber, how are you doing when you go to Kefka's Tower?
When I go to Kefka's Tower, I put my number 1 dude or dudette in Team 3, because like you said, that is the group that's going to be fighting the most bosses. In fact, they fight 3 bosses. Groups 1 and 2, you only fight 1. It's one of the statues. So my strongest person, because the higher, it's going to have a more, it's going to be a higher chance of them fighting a very bad boss like Goddess or the Stooges or something else, like maybe even Spicy Chicken. And one thing, shout out to Ceiling Cat. She said she had to leave at 9:30. Thank you, Drulith, for getting into Kefka's Tower right before 9:30. So shout out, say thank you to Ceiling Cat for doing the tracking for us, since pretty much the tracking's over. So thank you for that, Cat.
Yeah, as always, hard to do this without a whole team behind us, and Ceiling Cat, one of the core pieces of that team. We couldn't do it without Ceiling Cat and other support staff working tirelessly to make sure these streams are successful. So thank you as always. Javinator encountering a pretty straightforward boss there with Narapa. Definitely a boss that you do want to see in Kefka's Tower, and picking up yet another piece of the Genji suite, and encountering Inferno. Now, this is not a boss you want to see in one of these statue positions at all. Inferno, obviously one of the original Kefka Tower bosses, and can be a real struggle for these lower parties where they might only have 1 or 2 real party members, and that is the situation for Javinator. So we'll see if he's able to bust through this boss, but it could be a tight one. Cleave doing some work to get rid of those arms very quickly, and at least turning off the threat of something scary like Delta Hit.
For those wondering what these two are running, this is the current suggested standard seat set for version 1.1. I believe 1.2 might be coming down the road in the not too distant future. But these are the suggested new standard sets. So when you go onto our website, that's ff6wc.com, in the near future, when you roll the standard seat, which is what everybody tends to play to see if they can get another sub 2-hour run, this is pretty much what you'll be seeing in the near future. And that is a block there from Inferno back onto its sender.
Yeah, he doesn't want that. He's going to send it right back over. It's a
good damage out of Celeste there.
Yeah, Celeste, really, again, Javinator came in here with strong offense and making it worth its way, as he doesn't have nearly the trouble with Inferno that he might have. So, again, really has built his party well to be able to face any of these struggles. That's one of the tougher situations that he might be running into here.
Now, Drulith did elect to send Gogo down the 3 line, which is what I would do. Unfortunately, there's that bringing back to life thing, Life 2, that the top Stooger can do, and bring that one Stooger back to full health again. So you really got to focus down that top one as soon as possible, and it's the fire one, so you want to use ice or water on that as well. Hopefully these dice will connect better, as you roll snake eyes on that one.
Yeah, this is, again, what we sort of see with the issue. Fixed dice early on really, really strong, where even a low roll is still a lot of damage. But late game, the low rolls on fixed dice, they just don't cut it anymore. So luckily he's rolling big. Meanwhile, Javinator facing another pretty friendly boss at the end. You're never too sad to see the Ghost Train laid on, where he's going to be probably a pretty quick, pretty easy fight.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, Ghost Train does have some interesting abilities like Evil 2, which can be pretty damaging depending on which effects you get on you. But it's definitely quick and make work. Javinator is taking your strategy by doing your number one guy or gal and sending them down their single fighter path, I guess, a la Arena. But you don't see Arena. We didn't see any of Arena in this run either.
No, none of that on this one. But the Ghost Train goes down very quickly, and Drulith working hard to catch that gap. I do think he had a slightly faster Stooges fight. Javinator did get a little tangled up there, but he's trying to close that gap. But I don't know, Saber. I don't know. Do you think there's enough time for Drulith to catch up here?
You never know what Tier 3 Kafka will throw at you. I'm just saying. Tier 3 Kafka is probably the most difficult part of the game. As Javinator's Goddess is... Okay, the music didn't change, so we have Ultros 2. That's a very easy fight.
Now, this Ultros, it looks like there's just one Ultros there. Do you think there might actually be 4 or even 5 Ultroses hiding
It's
there?
not the... What is it? The Vector? Whatever it's called? That's a very weird rogue monster fight, I will say.
Well, that's Javinator's last impediment. He is free and clear to go start the Kefka fight. So, we'll see.
Yeah, there's the Narapa. Again, Narapa the Rappa just basically tries to condemn you, so it puts a timer on your party to try to kill them in, which they don't really have much HP. Narappa's got one of the lower HPs of the bosses in the game. But yeah, Google in the party is going to be able to get this as Javinator gets the tower switches. 121.41.
Yeah, interesting that we're seeing a couple bosses vulnerable to instant death here at the very end. I don't know that Javinator really tried to do it, although we've seen Drulith be a little quicker to use things like Doom, so I wonder if we'll see him use Doom when it comes to the Ghost Train there.
For Javinator, by the way, that was a 13-minute Kafka's Tower, so a little bit on the longer side.
Yeah, again, I think we saw a lot of that delay from the Stooges. Inferno didn't eat up as much time as it might have, and we'll see how Drulith handles Inferno now. But
well, he does have Go-Go, though.
Yeah, he sure does. As Javinator is setting up his party and starting his approach on Tier 1.
So talk about Tier 1 for us, Double.
Well, Tier 1 has 3 things going on. We've got the arm closest to us, which is susceptible to instant death. We'll probably see Celeste roll out with Sword Tech 8 very quickly here. And then we have the face, which is weak to fire. And we'll see a lot of racers. In fact, most racers who want to get through this unscathed will kill that face first, because what you don't want is that face to die last. If that face dies last, he is going to give you a parting blow in the form of Quake. And Quake has a nasty tendency to kill your entire party. So we will generally see instant death on that long arm like we just saw from the cleave. We'll see the face get killed and then that little arm. And our racers will try to do this as quickly as possible because this boss deals out a ton of physical damage. The hits from this boss, they hit hard.
And not to mention the fact that this boss will also pull your party, who generally you play them all in the back row. This boss will actually bring your party to the front row, which will increase that melee damage they do to your party. So
yeah, and very time consuming to fix all the rows. Either you let it stay as it is and deal with getting walloped by those arms, or you fix it and accept that you're skipping a turn. As Drulith, again, just cutting a swath through these bosses that were eating up Javinator a little bit more. So Drulith is doing everything he can to catch up and make this a race here at the end. I think this might be a pretty tight finish, Saber.
I want to remind everybody that they do not know where they are in this tower or whatnot, so Drulith does not know that Javinator's already started up on a Kefka. You just have to go by your gut feeling on where the other person might be.
We should also mention there is a third racer in this race. He's not featured on stream, but there's a dark horse, Seto Kiaba, for all we know, could be on tier 4 right now, finishing this up. So just want to throw it out there that maybe Seto will steal this and, curse our streamed racers here. Javinator making very, very short work of tier 1. So getting into tier 2, which becomes a... Oh, sorry, I had some technical issues. All right, so we're on tier 2. Now, what's the strategy usually look like for tier 2 here, Saberwolf?
Well, tier 2, we actually have 4 different targets. We actually, starting to back to front, we have the Kefka kind of guy facing away from us with his arms extended. That is magic. Then we have the feminine, or kind of like the eye portion in the middle where this long vine thing comes from. Right in that area is machine. I just go by targeting wise. The guy on top, which is blue, and then the one on bottom, which is kind of the feline face, that is tiger. Now for this one, if you have mute, which we don't have siren, I don't believe we've had mute either. First thing you want to do is mute that magic guy in the back. Then you want to use instant death, which Tara just did with the cleave. That will kill the machine. You can also, as an option, use stop. You can stop Bluey if you want, and that is not what you want to see. You do not want to see reflect casted on Tiger, because Tiger is actually weak to ice damage, so Ice 3 is very popular to focus on that cat. But now that we saw reflect go on it, I don't think we're going to be able to do that. We're going to have to stick with Merton the rest of the way here. But Merton's still doing a lot of damage out of Strago, about 5,000 to 6,000 per tick. So we should be okay with this. But like I said, interesting new one is that, yeah, stop does work on Bluey.
Yeah, when in doubt, Javinator just going to the old fallback plan of just cast Merton and then follow that up with a Merton cast and then finish that combo with some more Merton casts. So, it is one of those phases where you can just Merton your way through most problems, and this is one of those situations where Merton turns out to be the answer to many of these challenges we're facing here.
Yeah, not so much on the next tier. We'll get to that in a minute. Now, the other part of this is once you get to a point where you kill Tiger, you kill Bluey, and of course you instantly kill Machine, all you have left is Magic, who would normally be muted. For that, since it's muted, it can't do anything. As Drulith gets on the switches at 127.05, we'll get the time split there in a second. Since it's muted, it can't do anything. This is when you can do a little soft reset, take a breath, heal your party up, get their magic points back up again before you get into the next tier, which is tier 3. I throw it over to you for tier 3.
Tier 3. Now, as you mentioned earlier, tier 3 is where things get very, very spooky. We have only 2 bosses, which, that sounds easy, right? We had 3 the first time, 4 the second time. This is the easy part, right? Not so fast. So, Girl in the back, 9,999 hit points. But if you don't kill a Girl first, they're going to keep healing and healing and healing. And then it gets even more tricky because they absorb every single element. The only way to kill that part of the boss, non-elemental damage. Luckily, we've got some fixed dice floating around. We've got some options, but Merton is just not going to cut it here. Once you've got that, all you have to worry about is that front character, Sleep, and Sleep's only going to do things like cast W-Wind, which is going to take down most of your hit points, and then Meteo, which is going to do a bunch of damage to many of your people, and he might counter a bunch of things with more Meteo. Oh, he might cast Train too, which might mute and blind your people, and then he might cast more Meteo, and then after that, he might actually cast more Meteo again, and when you've gotten through the Meteo waves and waves and waves of Meteo, he's going to try to take 1 or 2 of your people down at the end with one-shot physical attacks. So if you don't have something like Fenrir or Golem, you might even just lose somebody despite all your good plays against Meteo. So this boss, very, very annoying to deal with.
Now, those commonesses you saw before, those were actually Girls' commonesses. Now, it's kind of stupid to have two bosses on the same thing that have the same ability that does 2 different things. But that commoness that came out was actually from Girl, and that actually charms, or I think puts your character to sleep. The split time for Drulith, by the way, for Kefka's Tower was just under 7 minutes. So that is a 6-minute comeback there for Drulith here through Kefka's Tower.
Wow. Yeah, that's a very, very fast Kefka's tower. It felt like he was going pretty fast, but wow, that's brisk. And we see it right here that he's very, very quickly closing the gap.
Wow, great play out of Javinator, having a ribbon on Sabin with the Unicorn, able to cast Remedy on his entire party, which is that Esper's ability to knock out the Mute and the Blindness to continue on the dice rolls for their go-go. Great combo move there.
Yeah, and especially great following up with roughly 8 million damage from this Gogo, who just decided to start rolling all the 5s and 6s on these dice. That's a kill on this boss.
Ooh,
and of
that's
course,
a straight block.
Calmness protection is out, but doesn't need it as Calmness gets blocked, and we are on to final Kefka.
So Final Kefka is all about math. Don't do too much damage where Ultima might trigger, but and wait for them to do the charge up mood, which is Goner, to dump all your hard damage in so you can't get countered. The first part you want to do this is the weakest damage person dealing that you have in your party will hold on to the Mega Elixir or some super high healing ability, because Fallen will knock down your entire party down to 1 health. And then you just kind of pile on him after that and don't do enough damage to trigger Ultima. Which, unfortunately, we might have that chance with Gogo doing the dice roll where you could just one-shot him. Which is a distinct possibility with these high rolls.
Yeah, I was going to say, this might be enough damage coming off the top here. We might not even see Fallen one.
I don't even think we're going to see it. Kefka's not even going to say a word.
No, Gogo has been spending some time in Vegas. And he has learned from the masters there how to roll dice. Bring this
oh, no, it didn't kill him.
A woman to a craps table, please.
Yeah, bring them there. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a Fallen one off that one. It is in low damage, or he's using Ultima range, though, so... Hyperdrive on the Celeste. That's an insta-kill.
And we're seeing the downside of X Magic. Unlike Quick, X Magic does provoke counters between both casts, so doing two big queued up magics like that is 2 counters.
But that's fine. We took out those 2 weakest persons on our team. That's another quad 9. That's another quad 9. Back-to-back quad 9 and rolls there. This is definitely going to be GG on this one.
Yeah, that's so much dice damage. Finishes off with a Snake Eyes roll, but it doesn't matter. The other 7 were all good enough. GG. Congrats, Javinator.
The official time is going to be 1:32:03. 1:32:03 is the official time for them.
Drulith, meanwhile, having a little bit of an annoying time. This is what we see when you don't get to mute magic in Tier 2, but Javinator, what a great finish, and really setting the bar pretty high or low, depending on how you want to look at it, for this this new standard seed configuration here. What a nice run by Javinator.
And give Javinator some credit, because he was like, oh god, I have to fight Druid, might as well count me up already.
Yeah, I mean, Javinator, one of the strongest racers I think we have in our community, so not at all surprised to see him take the W here, and you know, always happy to see him on stream, of course, as we've seen him take many of these streamed races, so this is par for the course for Javinator. Don't let him talk you out of it.
We are going to get Javinator here to talk with us here in a second. Also, shout out to, our off-stream runner, Seto Kiyaba. He's already said in chat, I have words, not swords. I have words about this seed. So it sounds like they're not enjoying themselves on this run.
Seto might have had a different rockier road than our 2 stream racers, which is always bound to happen. Sometimes you follow a funny path and some terrible things happen.
But we do have Javinator in our Discord chat. How you doing? Congratulations on the restream win.
Thank you very much. And I'm doing good, thanks.
So walk us through the race there a little bit there. Kind of an interesting start. Not a full, like, looting start. Kind of doing some other little checks there at the beginning. Talk about that.
Yeah, I usually like to try to get going quickly, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. So, you know, I check a few chests, I check a few shops, and if I think I can take a check, then I'll go for it. And I try not to shop around and do other stuff too much. And so I'm not a huge fixed dice fan, but I did see them there and offerings were available, so I figured I could take something out. And scaling is only ×2 with a 2-character start, which meant scaling was only at level 4, so I didn't have to be a very high level to start fighting bosses. So I just grinded like one fight. I kind of wish it was a better fight for experience, so then I just said, screw it, and went and fought the red dragon. Probably could have equipped a little better going into it the first time, so I just fixed that up and went into it the second time, and then I had the XP and the levels to basically carry myself through, and I stayed ahead of scaling for the rest of it.
Yeah, Javinator, congrats on the win. So I was curious, I think you had some interesting decisions near the middle, especially when you picked up that sword tech user there in Celeste. What was the plan there near the end? You were, I think, pretty far ahead on characters and a little behind on Espers. What was the sort of game plan there to catch up on those Espers?
So the seed was really nice to me at that point. I love sword tech, and I just picked up a sword tech user right after I got Cyan, which means I can go do the best check for Espers in the game and also get 8 sword techs. So that's why I threw Celis on the team right away, even though it meant kind of sacrificing my Mertens, because there was no Rage Ring or Blizzard Orb or Red Jacket equipability on Celis. But I really, really like sword tech, so I went for it anyway. So then I got 3 Espers from that. Celis also has Magitech Factory, which is a good chance at 2 quick Espers. Luckily, I ended up going to Tsen World of Ruin because I knew it was only 14k. I didn't know if it was an Esper or not, and I bought the item and it was a Minerva, which brought my Merton strats back, so that was pretty cool. And luckily, kind of all those last checks gave me exactly what I needed, and I was able to hop in the tower and finish up.
Now, I do have another question about your strats. I need you to teach me and everybody on the stream, how on earth do you roll such high dice rolls on all those fixed dice? Good lord, Gogo's dice rolls in that last fight. What's the secret? Is there some art, some skill? Can I go to Vegas to learn? What's the trick there with the dice?
Yeah, just dark arts, blood magic, that sort of, the usual stuff.
Wow.
All right, so what I'm hearing is you've plugged in probably a Game Genie or some sort of cheating device to weigh the dice. That's my understanding from it. I think we've all heard it.
No, I mean, the dice giveth and the dice taketh away, but when you're rolling 8 times, some of them are going to be pretty high. So I knew I was getting hyper-driven at the end there. But I figured it was 2 sets of 8 rolls is very likely to kill Kefka, especially after how successful the first set was. So I just kept attacking, and the numbers kept coming, and I got the kill. So that's pretty sweet.
I believe the term is hyper-droven, but...
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that.
I think it's hyper-druv, I believe. I think it's hyper-druv. Now, the other dicey spot in that Kefka's Tower drive there was the Stooge fight. What was going on there? I thought it got kind of dicey there when you had a couple... Well, not dicey, that was the other party, but got a little tricky there when you had a couple people turn to stone. What was the approach there, and what was your thought process at that point?
Yeah, so Stooges in the tower can be pretty brutal because you've only usually got 1, maybe if you're lucky, 2 characters doing damage. Celis is a great character, but she doesn't have targeted damage. I could have done a cleave to take out Larry right away and stop them doing Delta hit, but then he would have just kept getting brought back to life by Mo. So I basically just kept rolling the dice with Quadra Slice, hoping that I would start doing enough damage to Mo. I was trying to get those Ice 2s in with Edgar just to get that little extra damage. I think I had remedies, so I could have solidified those other 2 guys, but they weren't really doing much anyway. So as soon as I got rid of Mo, I knew I could immediately cleave Larry. And then, like, Celis with the Minerva on is really not a danger of any of the abilities any of them have other than Delta hit, so I knew it was good after that. But yeah, it was a little bit chancy at the start of that fight for sure.
I think one of the big turning points for the game, the head-to-head match between you and Drulik, was that the back-to-back pickup of fighting Celeste and Cyan to get those checks in, and you got those good about 20 minutes or so before Drulith did. I think that was one of the big key points for you, probably, to close out the try to get to the Kefka unlock.
Yeah, I was definitely feeling pressure at the end of the seed because I'm always watching the time and my character and Esper count. I'm like, wow, I still have a lot of stuff to get, and I'm already at like 50 something minutes or whatever. So I was starting to get pretty worried. So it was honestly a huge sigh of relief to find Cyan and then Celeste. Like, it was a sigh of relief just to find the characters, and then happening to find those characters with those checks and that ability. Man, that was relieving. I wouldn't say I felt great after that, but it felt like it was basically, I felt behind the whole seed because I died to that dragon fight, and I thought I was kind of doing silly stuff at the start, and dice aren't the best strat all the time, so I was wondering if Drew found something better and was going faster. So I felt behind the whole time. And then, yeah, once I found those kind of 5 Espers, bang, 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 and those 2 characters, that was like, okay, maybe I actually have a shot at this. So, yeah.
Drulith?
Yeah, that was definitely a high point of the seed.
Well, Drulith found the double dice deal before you did, but was actually doing Scully the same time you were doing Red. So the first dragon that you did, they were also doing the first dragon. So
interesting.
You had the same idea, you just different places in the game.
Yeah, I was keeping the double dice away for a while because it's kind of overkill. So I wasn't really using double dice until the end there. When I found out that he could use the red jacket, then that kind of opened up that relic slot. And with him being the only one really doing damage on a single path and no magic because he's go-go and he can't learn, like, he doesn't have any magic of his own and his partner didn't have any, it was pretty much roll the dice and one-shot them, or you don't really, or you're in trouble.
By the way, quick shout out to Drulith right now with the trolling Kefka, whiffing all of these Ragnarok hits on him. Critical whiffs. There we go. We finally got one to hit.
Yeah, tough Kefka battles all around for Drulith. Javinator, anything else you wanted to share or reflect upon or muse about with this seed?
The only thing I would say is it was, this is my first try, I think, at the new standard flags. I think they played pretty much the same. Some pretty unfortunate abilities at the start, and like fixed dice was literally, I think, the only good weapon I got the whole game. So it's kind of a weird seed. If I didn't happen to find Merton and I didn't happen to find those checks towards the end, I think that time could have been a lot longer. Yeah, that's about it. GG's, thanks for the restream, everybody. Community's amazing. You guys are amazing, and thanks for having me around.
Well, thanks for being ahead, Javinator. Always happy, and once again, congrats on a great race. I think you might be pretty good at this game. Good to see that the PK Scramble hasn't ruined your Final Fantasy Worlds Collide play.
Right on. Thanks very much. Okay, have a good night.
Have a good night, buddy.
All right, so Drulith finishing up as well, a rockier road up Kefka's Tower. I'm not sure if we're getting Drulith in for a few last thoughts or not, but that was a tough Kefka's Tower boss. After a really, really quick Kefka's Tower, Final Kefka himself really kind of ate up Drulith a little bit there.
Yeah, so Drulith losing 3 minutes on the Kefka climb. So Javinator's total Kefka time on the climb was around 9.5 minutes versus Drulith's total time lapse on that was around 14 minutes. So so there's the difference there. As Drulith does join us in chat, good game to you, bud. Good try out of you on the head-to-head here, but you made it to the end. Yeah, so there's the difference there. As Drulith does join us in chat, good game to you, bud. Good try out of you.
Congrats on a nice finish there. I mean, it was still a great time on that one. Walk us through, how did you find the seed?
26 checks, that's all I'm going to say about it. And like 3 additional peaks.
Yeah, it was slow going there at the beginning, especially. I know there was a ton of dead checks. I think you probably found 7 or 8 copies of every possible Genji piece of equipment you could. What was the approach? How do you deal with that at that point when you cannot find the characters? What are you doing in that situation?
Um, well, you just gotta, keep doing the quickest checks and the peekables that are the fastest until you finally find one. I mean, eventually it gets narrowed down anyway, just from doing the checks. But I wanted to avoid doing Burning House and Leet River so late. That was my main thing, which was successful, but didn't really matter because all the dead checks didn't really help me out there.
Yeah, it looked like the seed definitely wanted to send you to some places that you maybe wouldn't have wanted to go. Now, you had some interesting options later in the seed. I was curious. So you ended up with a lock with throw. What was your thought process there between whether to add him to the party or not?
I just don't think throw's all that good, honestly. Maybe if you have it from the start and you don't have to think about it, but um, I already had a Ragnarok, already had the Genji Glove dice. It was just lowing really low and was tilting me a lot. But usually if you have Genji Glove fixed dice offering, that's just one fight command equals GG for every fight. But there's a few 2-turners in there and a few annoying enemies. So offensively, I just didn't care. I just wanted to go. Like I was ready for KT 30 minutes before I entered, like I legitimately was. All I was concerned about was getting what I needed to enter the tower as fast as possible, end up taking like 30 extra minutes.
Yeah, I think your levels were in like the 40s before you had all the espers there. So I was feeling your pain for sure. Now the other thing I thought was interesting, you ended up with an opportunity and you took it to pick up Setzer for your eighth character. Did you consider leaving him? And then of course after that you ran into Celeste and made a different decision. So what was the thought process there?
Um, in that situation, the only character I'll ever take is Setzer because, well, maybe Shadow as well. But the thought process is, well, this is a boss battle. It's going to take one turn, and once I get Setzer, I have the Kohlingen in immediately. So like this could be the same thing. It's just getting an Esper if that Kohlingen in check is an Esper, right? So like it's still like the same time commitment in my eyes because Kohlingen in basically is like a 0 time check. And then he also has Search the Skies, which is just another like no travel time, just do the boss fight check. So in that particular situation, Setzer is the only character I'll take. Maybe Shadow, just because he also has Gao's father, which is similar to Kohlingen in, but he doesn't have Search the Skies, so it's a little worse.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Now, I think it's safe to say, Drulith, that you're probably one of the foremost experts on the standard race seed. I understand you have a decent time on the original one. How do you feel about the new flag set? Do you feel it's big difference? How you enjoying it so far?
This seed, it doesn't matter, but like this seed, except for improved steel, which mattered a little bit in Kefka's, gave me a little bit of extra damage with the Ragnarok. I mean, but if I didn't like misplay in tier 2, it would have been fine anyway. This seed, I would have most likely just rode the fixed dice offering no matter what. But I think overall, I really enjoy the changes. I think we're going to see a lot more use of the fun commands, I like to call them, like Lure and Blitz and Rage, and kind of encourage more creativity when running this flag set.
Are you saying it's not fun and creative to shoot tech missiles at everything?
It's really fun. Let's just say it gets a little old after a while. And the fact that it gives you that instant death and that muddle, like that's just way too much utility to have from one command.
Yeah, no argument here. I'm happy to see it gone too. Any other closing thoughts about the seed or life in general, Drew?
I mean, the seed, just this was like a 141, right? And it was awful. Like, just never give up. Always like don't think about the checks too much. Just kind of think about getting the next one quickly, and you can still get a decent time out of it. Because Jovinator won, and big grass to him. He could have easily just as had a hardest time as me, or harder even. So like you never really know. Because this is the type of seed that would really tilt somebody. As for life in general, I mean, we're going to be at GDQ, so everybody get hype about that. I'm really excited for that. We'll be able to meet up finally
Talk about
after
that.
like 2
What,
years.
what did people going to GDQ? Like, where is that, and what were we planning for that here?
That's going to be in Minnesota. It's going to be the first in-person event since the pandemic started, and I believe it's going to be. Well, I don't think the schedule's released yet, but we're definitely in, and it's going to be me, Jex Vrock, Seto Kiaba, or Kaiba. I don't really know which he prefers, but I always say Kiaba in my head.
Yeah, they only
and
know.
yeah, and Dr. DT. And then we've also got a
Solid lineup.
couch getting set up here. It's looking so far like Ravlin, Ceiling Cat, Heel Boss Iago, and I believe I'm forgetting one. Who was the last one? Andrew Racho. Sorry about that.
Oh, most of our restream team there, and
Yeah,
behind the scenes
exactly.
people.
So it should be a good time.
Awesome.
But yeah,
And
looking
when is that
forward
going to
to
be?
June 26th will be the start of the marathon, or June 27th. I think 26th is setup day. And it'll last until July 3rd, I think. So we'll be somewhere within that time range.
Yeah, everybody can tune in on that and keep your ears out on that by joining our Discord, where all the information, questions about how to do this, various Worlds Collide randomizer and like that. We have a great community here that'll help you out and stay on track with whatever events we have coming up.
Anyway, I think Seto has some words to share, so I'm going to let him get it.
Here we go.
Yeah, thanks for the restream, and shout out to everybody in the community. I love you all, and yeah, let's go GDQ.
Woo! Alrighty. I do not see a Seto in a waiting room or anything. So
I think his words were
wrap it up.
written and angry. I mean, if Seto wants to hop in, that would be awesome. But if not, we were unfortunate not to have him on stream. And
Oh,
look,
never
he's
mind.
here.
Oh,
He's
never mind.
here.
He found his way here.
Sorry, well, I'm behind on the stream. I didn't know if I should join since no one actually watched me run it.
We were mentioning that you had words. Like spout your words about this.
I caught the tail end of Drew, and it sounded like at least the sentiment was probably the same. In that this seed did not like espers. It did not want to give them to you, and when it gave them to you, they didn't want to put anything good on them. And it took me a long time to find Esper 10. I think I went into the tower at 120. It was very, very upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, he had a rough go. I think he had like 3 dead checks in a row to try to get his like 9th or 10th Esper. So you were not alone on that one.
I think I counted 5 dead checks if you don't count the Tizen Thief and losing an auction house Esper slot. If you count those, it's 7, which is pretty high. And then the auction house, it took me 11 tries before I got the Esper. I should have bailed out, but I was at that point. I said I'm not being restreamed, and I'm not quitting. I'm not letting the seed win. So I stuck at it, but it took 11 tries to get the Esper at the auction house.
Yeah, Drulis asked us in chat about God Run for Javinator. Javinator ended up getting a back-to-back Cyan Celeste with still needing like 4 Espers. And did Magitech Facility for 2, and did the Dream for he was actually 5 Espers. So he did Magitech Facility, got 2, and then he went to the Dream and got the other 3. Celeste also had Sword Tech, so Celeste unlocked Sword Tech as well, and that's how he capped off his Kafka Tower to get to it.
Well, I think
So
I should go back and take a look and see what they did, because I think the big difference was I did not do a single Strago check. So I never saw Cyan, Celeste, Sabin, Setzer. I didn't see any of them.
so you had Terra unlock then?
Yeah, I had Terra unlock, and then that led me to Realm. And
where was Realm?
Realm was Phoenix Cave was Realm.
Okay.
And then I got Shadow's my 8th character just because there were not enough Esper slots left. And I was, at that point, I'm like, I'm not doing Stragos checks. It is an hour 10. I'm not doing Burning House or or Abyss Rock or anything. And my magic was horrible, so I was not even going to look into Fnatic's tower because I don't think I could have survived it if I did. But the fun thing was I ended up with level 58 Terra swinging 8 Atma weapons at the end. So my final battle was very quick.
Level 58 Terra.
With Octo Atma weapon. Boy, it is a shame we did not have you on stream for that. I would have been a lot of quad 9s floating around, I assume.
It was 6k per hit, I would say. It was enough, though, to one-shot sleep, which was really funny to see. But obviously not enough to get me back in the race. I wonder if I had slightly better auction house luck, whether I would have gotten close to Drew's time or not, because 11 is ridiculous. And the other thing, too, was I did more shopping at the beginning than I wanted to going into the seed, but I needed Warp Stones to do Zone Eater, and as far as I'm concerned, when you have Go-Go, Warp Stones are pretty much dried meat. Like, it's almost a requirement to do his check. And it took me a long time to find Warp Stones. I think it was Word of Ruin, Figaro Castle, when I finally found some to buy.
Other key points of the match was Javinator found an early Merton and was able to get Merton online earlier than Drulith did. I don't know if you did.
No, I never found it, which is a shame because minute in, I got 2 elemental shields and a rage ring, and I was like, well, it'd be nice to get Merton, and then it never came.
Well, that also, by the way, he also, on top of getting Celeste and the quintuple Espers, also went to Tease and Thief and grabbed a Minerva for her as well, so he could continue the Merton train.
I had 2 extra Minervas in my inventory, just burning a hole,
nice.
And I would have sold them, except for the fact that the game gave me a cat hood at the beginning, so much money, and then they're like, oh, here's an economizer you don't want to use, here's another one you don't want to use, here's a gem box, here's Minerva. I had so much money I didn't know what to do with. At the end, I bought a bunch of Super Bowls halfway through, because for the mid-game, that was my only offense for a long time, was Super Bowls until I got a second fixed dice. So that was fun. So it was weird getting a lot of money and nothing to spend it on.
Well, any closing thoughts about the seed? Do you have any other?
You said you had
grievances?
words.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. This is therapeutic. This is cathartic. Get it out. Tell us about it.
I've run a lot of standard race over the last 48 hours because my wife has COVID and I am now stuck in my office because I do not have COVID. And so I've run a lot of standard race over the last 2 days, and I don't like 2 character starts. I think it results in a lot of linearity, and the seed was very linear up until, I guess, Strago, and that was where things diverged a lot. And I think that added to the frustration when you're not finding Magicite. You definitely... I felt like I was running out of checks, with the exception of going to Strago, which I was just not going to do if I could avoid it. But GG to Javinator and Drill. It was obviously a bear of a seed. It sounded like all of us were having problems finding those last Espers to get into the tower. So GG to them. It definitely felt like quitting around 110, 120 when I was not in the tower yet. Well,
we're glad you didn't. It's the level of competition we have here, that people stick it out and fight to the end, and it's a pretty good sign coming out of a tough struggle seed like that. That 145 is the result. I mean, that's there's no shame in a 145 on a seed like that. Let's say that much.
I'll say this: I'm glad that we have people betting our seed for GDQ, because 145 is our estimate for the race. So hopefully, seeds like this will not rear its head in the actual event. But yeah, that's about all I had. Thank you guys for hosting this and commentating it kind of last minute.
Yeah, no problem. Shout out to Varys, my wife, for that.
Well, glad you could put on a show for everyone. But I'll leave you guys to it. Thanks for letting me pop in for a minute.
Awesome. Good having you, Seto.
Yep.
GG.
Talk to you guys later.
Good. All right. Any final thoughts on this for you there, Double?
I have nothing. Saber, what do we have to look forward to this weekend?
I was not
Wait,
ready
do
for
we
that
have a community
question.
race this weekend?
Yeah, so we do races, community races, now that we have Battle Royale. Battle Royale kind of took up a lot of our streaming times. We stream usually every Thursday and Saturdays around 8 p.m. right here on the FF6 Worlds Collide on Twitch. And a lot of the BR, and since the Battle Royale, the BR, is over, we're now back to some of our community races now. And on days where we might not have like some runners around here, we actually are looking into doing possibly a ladder series, which is like an ELO kind of like several month long async races where everybody will do the same exact seed set on a race, and those times will set up a ranking system throughout the next couple of months, and then we'll take, say, the top 8 or so, and we'll do a tournament out of it later on. That's looking way down the road. Of course, that's after we solidified this new standard set, flag set, so this was kind of a tester for this. And as Seto Kiyaba said, and I say it too, Seto Kiyaba, 3-character start versus 2-character start. I think that's really one of the biggest sticking points. Like, what would you prefer?
Honestly, I've kind of gone back and forth on it. I'm kind of fine with it as it is. I'll play either. I'm not too picky about it. I used to have strong feelings. Used to be very much that I thought they should be 3-character starts, but I've sort of, I don't know, maybe it's Stockholm syndrome, but I've sort of made peace with 2-character starts. But yeah, that's all I've got for tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing the next big event, but also looking forward to watching some more of these community races. Always great to highlight some of the wonderful racers, and there are so many of them in this community. So looking forward to the next showdown we can display on stream for everybody. And again, as we've mentioned many times earlier in this race, and we'll mention many times from now, do not be afraid to jump in and play. There is no barrier to entry in this. Find a ROM, find our website at ff6wc.com, get involved, and then join our Discord. It's a great community. We're always happy to have more people in. And I mean, we have all sorts of different events going on that you can jump right into. Doesn't matter if you've been playing for one day or one set of years. You're welcome to hop in. So get in there and join us. The more, the merrier.
Yepper. And on that note, I wanted to thank a shout out to our runners, which was Drulith and Javinator. If you're still in our chat, those are their Twitch TV links for them. Also, thank Stedo Kiyaba, who was off stream because he was doing some other stuff while racing at the same time. I could not multitask like that if I was him. Also, our restream team, which was Double Down, who was joining me on comms, Ceiling Cat for tracking. I am Saberwolf, doing the restream and the comms. Thank you. See you Saturday.
Take care, everybody. Have a good night.